coming out and saying this now, that you're not representing the CIA now. And, you know, the inclination is, well, I'm saying that this waterboarding is torture. You know, I didn't think it at the time, but yes, now I believe that it is torture. Well, I personally believe that he's out there and he's covering up the story, the real story, about this mind-altering technology and keeping the focus on waterboarding, on physical torture. Because, of course, you know, there's no mental torture. These programs don't exist. And when they do, it's strictly for advertising purposes only. Well, you know, there's a lot more going on here than we realize, or that we really care to realize. It's just much easier to laugh it all off and say, hey, you know what, this guy talking right now is a complete idiot. He's a freak and, you know, he's crazy. Honestly, I probably would be relieved to find that to be the case. But unfortunately, the more I talk, the more I read, the more I study this stuff, the more obvious it becomes that that is not the case. And there is a real twist here. You know, our reality is something very, very, very different from what we perceive in everyday life. So we've got, you know, these things that we deal with on a daily basis now. We deal with terrorism, and remember, Albert Pike's Third World War would be fomented between basically the Arab world and the Zionist world. So of course, you know, you have to have terrorism involved here. Now the only thing I'm gonna say about 9/11 is that I don't believe any of it. I don't believe anything that is involved in the official 9/11 story, and that's because anyone with a critically thinking mind can see right through it. There's just too many inconsistencies in the details. I mean, you can't have hijackers be alive after 9/11 and leave them on the list of hijackers. I mean, unless the FBI and the 9/11 Commission and the CIA are just willing to just say, we don't want to deal with this, it's over, blah, 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 you just can't justify that. Now, an interesting tidbit about 9/11 and about the World Trade Center is not so much the World Trade Center, but in the subway under the World Trade Center complex, or right next to it. I live in the cesspool of the United States known as New Jersey, and in the spring I made a trek into New York City to go to a show, and by chance I got off the subway at Ground Zero, not even realizing where I was until I got off of the train. Well, there, right before me, as I'm walking through the subway platform, I start seeing eyes in the tiles. The tiles have this all-seeing eye all over as you walk closer and closer and closer to what I didn't know was there, but it's this thing called Oculus. And Oculus is this mosaic. It is a bunch of tile, and it's laid out, and you have the world, and at the center of it is the all-seeing eye. And this all-seeing eye is the Eye of Horus, or, you know, it's the Eye of Satan, basically. It's the Eye of the New World Order. It's the same eye that was featured on the Nazi posters showing this eye is watching you, you better be good, you know? The same ads showcasing the IBM punch cards. The same eye that's on our $1 bill on top of the pyramid. And it's this New World Order that is being built. The whole pretense, the whole charade around the New World Order is that the end of an other order would come about before this New World Order could be installed. Now, the second coming of Christ would come, and Christ would set up his kingdom on the earth. The signs of the tribulation are the signs of the end of the age. Christ's kingdom here on earth would begin a new age. Now, the New Age movement is looking for a New Age Christ, not the true Christ, but a New Age Christ. The New World Order is also looking towards this New Age Christ. And when comparing what they believe will occur and their mass destruction of humanity, their, releasing of whatever disease to knock off 3/4 of us, basically it is the tribulation. They are going to have this man come on the scene, and he's going to be their savior, and he's going to say, hey, Worship me, I am Jesus, I'm here to save everyone. The new age has begun. The new world order has arrived. Well, it won't have arrived. It will not arrive. The end of the age will not occur until Christ returns and destroys this imposter and the one world government kingdom that he is going to set up. It's going to be an abomination. Now, I don't have all the specific details. I'm not a prophet. I state that constantly. I'm just someone that researches this stuff, and I give the most honest opinion that I can from the facts that I can dig up. And I stand to be corrected on any of this. I do not have a divine spark in me that just reveals all this stuff to me. I don't, and I don't claim to. But what I will tell you over and over and over is information that you will not be getting elsewhere. All right, so now, we had the London car bombings in 2007, and we had this story come out that a militant stated, "Those who cure you will kill you." All right? This is coming from CNN. A British Anglican cleric working in Baghdad said a man he met in Jordan issued a disturbing threat that is now feared to be a dire portent in the aftermath of failed British bombing attacks. "Those who cure you will kill you," the man told Canon Andrew White, who spoke to CNN on Wednesday. White said he spoke with the man in April in Amman, Jordan, at a meeting of Iraqi Sunni sheikhs attempting to foster peace in Iraq. White, who would not name the man at the behest of the U.S., British, and Iraqi authorities, said the individual issued a litany of hostile statements about the United States and Britain and their role in Iraq. So yeah, he'd really like to tell you, Mr. Canon Andrew White would love to tell you who made this statement, but he's just not allowed because the United States won't let him state the name of this evil, evil man. Well, what I'm about to tell you is that there is just slightly more to this story, as usual, and unfortunately, it has been reported, but chances are you've missed it. Now, honestly, this is probably my favorite story of 2007. This coming from ABC News. The London bomb plot, allegedly planned by a cell of doctors, failed early last Friday morning because a medical syringe used as part of the firing mechanism caused a malfunction, ABC News has learned. According to non-classified documents reviewed by ABC News and confirmed by multiple sources, both mobile telephones initiated firing mechanisms rigged inside a Mercedes E300 parked several yards from the front door of Tiger nightclub, failed despite multiple calls to the cell phones designated to remotely trigger the devices. Alright, now, we've seen time and time again car bombings in Iraq, car bombings in Israel, people blowing themselves up in Iraq and in Israel. These are cold-blooded killers. These are people hell-bent on getting to their virgins in heaven. They are not artists. They are not poets. They do not take the time to rig Mercedes to blow up via cell phone call, just so long as the syringe, the medical syringe that they've wired to work as a firing mechanism, happens to function properly. Because, of course, those who cure you are going to kill you. Wink, wink. Nod, nod. Ha, ha, ha. Now, think back to the attempted bomb plot at JFK Airport. Again, from 2007. We had U.S. Attorney Rosalind Mouskop, or however she says her name, stating it was one of the most chilling plots imaginable. Had the plot been carried out, it could have resulted in unfathomable damage, deaths, and destruction. They took extensive measures to seek expert advice, finances, and explosives. Oh, really? Because other reports actually state at least a little bit more of the truth. Experts cast severe doubt on the practicalities of the plot. JFK Airport, like other airports around the world, is fed by a series of pipelines that supply jet fuel and heating oil. In many cases, the pipes are beneath the tarmac and are laid directly to the gates where the planes park. So you really would have a hard time getting to it, let alone causing a chain reaction, because there are shut-off valves and emergency valves in case an accidental explosion ever happened. But that's unlikely because jet fuel will not explode unless it is under extreme heat. Basically like someone